6 months. That long.
Well, it was a
I
1
think.
week break.
Yeah.
Or a 2 weeks break.
Yeah,
became
and then I
6
don't know what happened. We all just, it's a
Right.
story for another time. Life admin, all that jazz. We are so glad to be back though, and we are so glad you can join us. So we are just going to be having a quick chat tonight and talking about what we've done so far, what Unsubscribe is all about, and we're going to introduce us as well. And then we have some major, big time news for you. So watch this space. We will be getting to it at some point. But for those of you that don't know, I am Charlotte.
My name is Joel.
I'm Canal.
I am Jade. And I'm Tanya.
And we have Sam that we send our love to.
Yes.
Oh, couldn't make it. YG Sam.
How's everyone doing?
Good to be back.
Yeah, we feel rusty.
So rusty, man.
I know. I don't know how
We were in the revamp before, and then today I'm just like, I forgot where to look for the cameras. I said hi, and it wasn't there.
No, but I'm happy to be back on the screen.
Sure.
Even though maybe it's the last time with you guys, but I just... Oh, is that the news? Sorry.
Tanya, she's such a spoiler.
It's like,
Or is it?
you
You
know,
never
you see
know.
like the Marvel cast, like the
Yeah.
movies. There's always that one that gives away the plot. That's
Or
Tanya.
is it?
We only gave her a quarter of the script for tonight.
Stay tuned, because I may be bluffing. You never know. Yeah.
But no, if you've been in the church services, most people will know,
They know.
kind of where we're going. But yeah, as Charlotte said, we're back for this episode. It's been a while.
Yeah.
We're going to reminisce. We're going to go back down memory lane this week. So,
Wait. Before you do that. Okay, so some of you might be new though, right? So think of this as the best bit and like the intro into what we're going to do next.
Yeah.
Because you guys have missed out. So we are going to reminisce our memories for you so you get a sneak preview of what we're all about.
And
Okay.
just to remember, you guys can find us and all of our episodes on our platforms. What are they? Spotify.
You're usually the one that is good at these ones.
She's on a roll.
I mean, like Facebook and
YouTube.
YouTube, our Facebook page.
I mean,
and
YouTube today, you'll find us on the stretch, 24th of May.
Sorry about that.
Like we said, we're rusty.
I think we also have a link tree, but I don't know if all the episodes are on there.
What's a link?
Yeah, I was gonna
tree?
say,
what
we're
is that?
all. It's just like a website where
Yeah.
you have all the links for every single one of the past episodes.
I did not know that.
It's useful.
Yeah.
So if you
Very
go on the
useful.
Instagram page and you click in our bio, you say, there's a link there, and then that's the link to our link tree that will link you to all of the links of all
Just
the
so
episodes.
many links.
So many links.
Yeah. Cool. Are we watching something?
We're going to watch something. So, we're going to take you back to episode 1. Some of you might have watched this already. And I can't lie, when I watched the preview earlier, it did bring back the memories. Or this might be the first time, and it give you a feel sort of for what we were doing. But let me
Don't
play the
mind
video.
us with our youthful faces.
And our skinnier faces, I think. Yeah.
You are tuned in to episode 1 of Unsubscribe. Can we get a cheer for the studio? Come on.
Hi, Mum. Every evening before I sleep, I actually ask God to wake me up at a specific time every morning.
Wow.
And He's been doing so every morning, basically.
You just like she came for the fashion show.
I mean, me and Canal were like,
We didn't get the memo. I was just thinking about the journey of us getting here. We were talking with Joel about how like this has only been 3 weeks and so much has happened.
Yeah.
You'll meet people, you'll build relationships, which is really awesome. And you feel a part of something that's bigger than what you are. There's purpose behind it.
Let's see the ring.
Oh, you want to see the ring? You want to see the ring, honey?
Let me just position that. Pow! Look at that. It's more about kind of questioning ourselves and the reasons why we do certain things.
Getting back to the root of why we do things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unsubscribe would be a fantastic place where we can actually unpack some of that thing and what people are going through. And we want this to be an interactive experience.
That's actually something I really hope this program can really shed light on. Is actually Christianity. We're normal people.
Exactly.
We're just influenced by Christ.
It's a forum where we have the opportunity to be loud and talk about the things that matter. This is like Christ loud.
Yeah.
Really asking the right questions of why do I actually do the things I do? Why do I believe the things I believe in?
And it was about actually thinking about where are we getting our kind of input from,
that's it.
and getting rid of all the rubbish and unsubscribing from all of that.
And I think it was just like taking a step back from that and thinking about, you know, what else should we be looking at, and thinking, actually, instead of subscribing to everything, instead of liking everything, why don't we start like questioning stuff that's going on in our world, and that's how we came up with Unsubscribe.
Well, our younger selves. I'll pray to yourselves.
I still look good. I'm just gonna hold on.
Yes, you do.
I still look good. No, but it's so nice to see everyone what's that, like 2 years ago?
Let's say a year and a half, but it's
Year and
getting
a
on
half.
2 years, isn't it?
Yeah, some of us have changed. Jade's still the same. I mean, you've still got the same head wrap.
Still rocking
the same head wrap.
Just
you know?
tied a little bit differently. Gotta change it up, you know.
I love it. It's a really good episode to have caught up on. I think for me it was really nostalgic to remember what the purpose of what we set up Unsubscribe for. You know, because sometimes, having done it for a year and a half, it feels like I guess you get lost in the source of it all. But for me, like watching that back was like a lovely reminder of the heart behind Unsubscribe. Yeah.
So guys, what would you say is Unsubscribe? Now that we've done like so many episodes, 20 something, between 25 and 30, I can't remember exactly how many episodes we did. So we've talked about so many different things. We've had feedback from people, and it's been a long time. We've had a break. What do you think after all that, Unsubscribe? The actual word, why did we choose Unsubscribe at the time we saw in the video? But what do you think now it means? Is it still relevant to what we were trying to convey, and we will try to convey as well?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, a lot of questions in one question. But let me pick one. I think, to give a quick answer, I do think it's kind of achieved what we set out to do. But I'll say, for me, it achieved more things than I would have realised. I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but I think we had, kind of had this idea of we just want to put out a programme that allows us to talk about things that don't often get talked about. And I know for myself, I don't know if you lot agree, is my main thinking was there's a lot involved in being a Christian. It's life. We live lives the same as everyone else lives, but our faith kind of leads us in certain ways and causes us to question things, and a lot of those things can't be covered on a Sunday service, whereas for most of us, that's when we all get together. So for me, Unsubscribe, what I wanted it to be was a place where we could just talk openly, discuss things. We didn't always have to have the same point of view, but we could just think of certain topics and certain things and discuss it from a point of view of our faith. And, I think looking back on the episodes, I think we were able to do that. And definitely the feedback from people. I mean, if anyone's watching, definitely drop us comments as well if you watched episodes as well. But I think we was able to do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, Joe, actually, on that, if anyone is watching, if you are familiar with Unsubscribe, it'll be interesting to hear what people have perceived Unsubscribe to be, because we can think one thing, but other people can think another. So please do drop your comments. We are actually monitoring them as we chat now.
And if you are not familiar with Unsubscribe, you can still comment and ask us questions about Unsubscribe, any question basically. I don't have any in mind. But Jade, what do you think about Unsubscribe? Is it still relevant?
Absolutely still relevant. And I think the more we go on, the more topics that we get to cover, obviously, and the more perspective we can bring to so many different elements of just life, full stop. And I think that's just like the best part of Unsubscribe is we're all talking about things that might have gone on or comments that might have been said. We all have different perspectives and different mindsets, and it's not to say we can't like each other because of it. There's so many different things out there, but I like it. I like what your mum said though, Joel.
Yeah, I'll put that out now.
A safe place to talk and grow. And that is true. It is just it. We're all growing, and we're all moving together. Might be in sort of different directions almost, but going the same way. Like a tributary of a river. A tributary.
A tributary.
Yeah, tributary.
I don't know what that word is. Right?
Like a branch of the river.
Okay.
Like a section of the river that joins to the main river.
A stream.
No. Definitely a tributary.
Charlotte, I remember you and Sam actually came up with the name Unsubscribe, and at the time we all took it in for different reasons, and like thought it meant different things. But now, a year and a half later, you chose it. What do you think about it?
Yeah,
why did you choose it before, and would you choose it again today?
So I think we touched on the video that we spoke about why we chose unsubscribe is because everything today is about like signing up to something, getting those likes, getting involved with other people, connecting with one another. But actually unsubscribe was all about like the actual reality, so unsubscribing for what you were hearing around you, taking a step back, looking at the different perspectives, looking at reality as opposed to like Facebook and Instagram. And I think, I'm just amazed at how well we've almost like stuck to that. It's almost become like our thing. I mean, we knew we wanted a name that reflected who we were, but actually our tagline as well is what lifestyle, conversation and faith. Is that it? And I just think to myself, that's exactly what we are. We're about lifestyle, we're all about our faith, and we have deep and meaningful, honest conversations. And I think the bit that I love more and most about all of this is that when we first started, I hadn't seen Jade for a really long time. I don't think I'd met Tanya, maybe once, maybe. And Joe and Canel, we just kind of started getting to know them, and then Unsubscribe came together, and I feel like, wow, what amazing friendships and relationships that have been built out of that, like even just from us as a community. And I just want to encourage you guys from the fact that, you know, when we have these conversations, it could be here in the studio being like recorded, which is what we've done previously. But we have conversations like that in real life. Like when we're around like my house, or when we're around Joel and Canel's house, or Tanya's house, or Jade's house, like these are the conversations we end up getting into. Like we're questioning things. It's okay to not have the same opinion. We honour one another because of it. And that for me is like the whole life part of it. And the bit that I love the most about it. And to think that it's like a conversation starter, and that might be a conversation starter for someone else out there. But Unsubscribe, I feel, has really lived up to that. And I don't want to say like I'm proud of it, but I think that's what God wanted. Like God was definitely challenge us on that, and we've tried to be as truthful as possible with it, and I feel like we've met that, and we're continuing to do that, and that excites me.
The amount of times that we've had conversations and we go, oh, we really should have this recorded. Unsubscribe, this would have been so good.
So true.
One word. Oh, sorry, are we gonna say something? No,
so true.
One word.
Third time. When I say so, you say true. So.
One thing I like about Unsubscribe is we were really authentic. I feel like I don't feel like we were having artificial conversations.
It wasn't like forced topics.
No. It was genuine. Like we actually met everything that we were saying on camera is probably what we say off camera. Not even probably, definitely. And I think that actually was more of a positive, because I feel like people enjoyed the authenticity of what we said and just the realness of some topics. Like I think someone said in the past whereby it was beautiful how we can all perhaps even have different opinions on a matter, but then be able to discuss it, but in a again safely and kindly and authentically and lovingly, which I think doesn't happen, especially on social media where there's so much. If you don't agree with someone, it's a problem. Do you know what I mean? So I think we really did that quite well.
And just to touch on that as well, the fact that like Tanya is the same person on this like screen right now as she is in the world and off the screen, which is not, you don't get that.
What do you mean?
You sometimes don't get that on like social media platforms and people that broadcast. But so going back to the whole authenticity thing again. It's awesome.
It meant a lot, I think.
No, it's very true. Well, I think we've definitely embraced the vision so much that, I mean, the fact that you even had to double check, was that our tagline? It is because we've just embraced it without having to like forcefully thinking about it. And then from the feedbacks we've had from people, I feel like we've definitely been able to convey that as well. I don't even know if I'm using the right word, but to express that to the people. And people, when they would come here as well, because we've had multiple guests, that's also how they've, embraced it, because it was just natural. Like, we've had feedback from Christians, from non-Christians, and they all kind of said the same thing about the fact that it was nice to see Christian people talk about anything and life, but with their perspective, and it was interesting. And even if they didn't always agree on everything, it was like, no, but this is how life is. Like, this is just real. So yeah, I think amongst us Christians is definitely a good thing to do, but also to reflect that to people that don't know Jesus is very important, because we see so many bad things, you know, done from Christians, and then the world has a very bad view of Christians as well, and to be able to play a part in showing that, well, actually, you know, this is not how it should be. I think it's quite powerful.
But I guess that's the power of the media as well, isn't it? I mean, you think about the news, okay, and how many bad things. I mean, everything that comes out of the news is so negative, and you want like the positive side of life. You want to know what the good stuff is going on, and the way the world is changing in a positive light, and all that it has to offer.
And not just that, but like, sorry, I got you.
No, go for it.
But not everyone agrees on everything. That's just life. But I feel like on social media, in general, in the media, everything, people just make it like a war against each other, whereas actually it doesn't have to be. And we can be very respectful on disagreeing on things, but it doesn't mean that, well, I'm so right that you're wrong and then you're garbage. It's like, no, it's fine. We can just all be together.
Absolutely. I've actually got a question for you guys, but I was just going to come off both of Charlotte and Canel's point, kind of, whereby I felt like Unsubscribe for me was a really safe platform to navigate the pandemic, because you know, so kind of true. Talking about how the media's got such negative words and stuff like that. I felt like Unsubscribe in the midst of the lockdown, where no one really knew what was happening, still being able to have, at least on a Wednesday, you just had something to look forward to. Whether you were on it or not, it was just like, this is somewhere I can go for positive news, and also just. Yeah, it honestly was a lifeline. I'm not gonna lie, because like
20 uncancelled.
That's
so good. That was great.
But then we actually went back into lockdown. Whenever October.
I think even 2021 we was
exactly. But still having that interaction with one another, I think it got me through it. I'm not gonna lie.
I completely agree, because I was thinking the same, and we're kind of enough past the lockdown time to forget. I think we was all craving to get back to normal, that we're enjoying just going out, meeting people. And when I was reminiscing, I was thinking, yeah, you're right. It's weird to think that only a couple of years ago we were, you know, almost like prisoners in our homes. And we were being told we couldn't go out, we couldn't see loved ones. And like you, Tanya, I think I've shared it with you guys. I've probably even shared it publicly, that I really struggled. Like, I need to be around people, but particularly with, you know, like Canel's health concerns and that. You know, even when the rules were relaxed, we was having to live still cautious, and it was tough. But I know, having Unsubscribe, even on a personal level, it was a reason to get out of the house. It kind of gave me a purpose, as cheesy as it sounds. And then to see the interaction from people, it was, you know, something that every week I knew I had to be spending time with God as well. And, you know, of course, in an ideal world, we're doing it all the time. But the fact is, life distracts you, and you have things coming up. But if you know that you've got to go on camera, you've got to, you know, present a topic or say things or share your opinion, and that could be potentially there forever. You know, it's like, I need to make sure that I'm quite clued up on what I'm about to share. What are my opinions based in? Sometimes I think I'd have an opinion before an episode, and then I'd really think about it and think maybe I've got a different point of view. So I think having it in that period of time was really useful. I'll stick up. Thanks for joining us, Chris Ruffley. Hey guys, miss you, and I totally agree. So yeah, thanks so much.
Chris. I actually had a question, guys, and you guys didn't get a chance to prepare. But I did ask my question, did I?
She's got another question.
Exactly. Whatever. I've got another question.
Same off camera.
What would you say Unsubscribe taught you? It could have been a topic. It could be the process. Whatever.
Today you should have told us you were going to ask this question.
I like this style. Give it to Chanel first.
What would you say Unsubscribe taught you about yourself, about your faith, whatever? It could be about anything.
I think Joel is really eager to answer.
Okay. Or should we go to? I think Jay's got a lot to say.
I spoke a lot.
What would you say taught you?
That friendships and family are almost quite similar. You know, but what Charlotte said earlier, the way that we guys have kind of almost reconnected and just or become more friends become more friends. Does that make sense? Become friendlier, but also have made a family between us as well. Like I think it goes beyond our like friendships. You know, like
I think we're all like unofficial uncles and aunties to
Yeah.
babies.
Yeah, exactly that. So,
so it taught you friendship and family as similar.
Yeah, or, well, almost the same.
I'm
basically.
Tanya's face, like, just to clarify.
You guys put me on the spot.
Tanya disagrees.
Whatever.
What is it?
It's almost similar.
Yeah.
It's almost the same. Not even almost similar because it is similar, but it's.
No, I get you though, because we're discussing like Christianity. We're discussing our faith, and I guess like it joins you together, it glues you together, and life glues you together. And having those conversations, there's an element of trust that you're giving to like other people that you're talking to when we're discussing these things. So naturally, I think you're like drawn towards each other. Big life events like you had a baby, I had a baby, COVID, engaged, like all of these things.
Nothing.
Neil's growing lots of plants, and Joel's going to the gym lot.
And I rode a bike. So
major life changes.
You rode a big bike.
I mean, all kind of similar priorities.
Babies, bike. Yeah, no, I think it's interesting. Like for me, one thing that's not already been said is sometimes I think we overthink how to talk and act and bring things up to people that don't know Jesus or that we also, they maybe know Jesus, but we don't really know well. Whilst I feel like with Unsubscribe, we didn't, because we were not thinking about it. We actually just did it naturally, and it was completely fine. Like a few times I've had, whether it was family or colleagues or friends, that because I would share on my Instagram, I guess, the links to Unsubscribe, they knew about it, and then I never knew until they would tell me, like even during our 6-month break, oh yeah, it was really good, that podcasting you were doing with people from the church. I was like, what? I didn't know you were watching this. Like, I don't even know how you found this out. But they were saying, yeah, it was, they would even tell other people there in the room, like, yeah, it was really good. It's like, even them explaining what we were about. I remember one of my ex-colleagues saying that when I caught up with her and another colleague, and she was saying, yeah, it was really good. It's like they're all like Christian and young. They're not like the cliche old Christians that are boring, and they're talking about things, and then the colleague was like, oh well, they're talking about just Jesus and God and faith. And she was like, well, yeah, but not only they're talking about life, but just they're Christians, so they say with their perspective, but it's really, really good, you should listen to it. And I was really like gobsmacked, because I think if I overthrew it, I would be like, oh, I can't do it, I can't talk about it. But it was so natural that I feel like we can all take that and just be like, yeah, maybe it's just easy to start conversation, you know, and people are more open-minded than we give them credit for.
That's good.
Yeah, the crazy part is like you would encounter someone and they'll be like, oh, we watched your episode, and you're like, oh wow, it really was humbling. Not like I don't consider ourselves at all celebrities or anything. Not even Lola. I mean,
right, maybe let's unpack that. Let's unpack that, Tanya.
Influencers, guys.
The fact they came out her mouth, she thinks that.
I don't think we're like celebrities, but we're like influencers. We're getting there.
Do you know how hard it was to get Tanya's agent to agree to even come tonight?
We had to pay her the big bucks.
Yes,
I'll send you my invoice. On the level, it was humbling because, for one thing, I was like, my conduct on and off camera has to be consistent, because imagine like someone whom I don't know.
I think really audience.
I can cut.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I don't. Yeah, I do and I don't. Because I went to, what is that coffee place in Kingsnorth?
Oh,
Bloss, right. So this was in the lockdown. We just started Unsubscribe. We'd done a couple of sessions, and I was in the garden at Bloss with Chloe and Sam, and I think I was pregnant. I definitely was pregnant, because I've been pregnant for the last 2 years. So yeah. and Jenny North came up to me, and I hadn't met Jenny at this point. I didn't know who Jenny was, and she was like, "Oh, you're Charlotte, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm Charlotte." And Chloe was standing next to me, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I saw you guys on Unsubscribe."
Exactly.
To be fair, when we came back to church last summer after 2 years of not going, the amount of people that were like, coming to me, and in my head I was thinking, please introduce yourself. Like, I wish we were like tag names, because the people felt like they knew us, which is really good, because that just shows, again, it was like very accessible. But people felt like they knew us, which they probably did, to be fair, because we were just natural. But I was just like, please remind me, and then I would just click, oh yeah, that's the Facebook name, I know that person.
Even that way, we were able to like meet new people through Facebook.
I love that
as well, which is cool.
That was great.
And it was, sorry, I was saying, our conduct, for me, I had to watch myself and say, obviously, as a Christian in general, you have to live life according to a certain standard. But like, especially being on a platform where we're talking about things and I'm saying all these big statements like, love your neighbor and stuff. And if I was just caught off guard in the street somewhere, just up to no good, it wouldn't be a good, I guess, testimony, if that makes sense.
But it happens though, doesn't
That's
it?
true.
Like, I've been in like the middle of the street or a car park, and I've had an argument with Sam. I mean, like, life happens, and I guess that is the beauty in it.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, there has to be some kind of like reality. We do fall short at the end of the day. We can't be 100% like Jesus. We're all striving. We're all trying to get there. And the fact that, like, we're just giving our best, and that's all we can give. And I guess that makes it relatable, right? Because everyone goes through this stuff. Everyone has an argument. Everyone snaps at a coffee barista by an accident and loses a plot.
I did this therapy.
And loses a plot sometimes, and I think I think obviously it's not okay in the moment, but when you recognise that, you're like, okay, I shouldn't have done that. And
well, that's true, isn't it? It's still part of like shows our journey, like you said, to show that we're not perfect. And I guess we never proclaim to be, and I don't think as Christians anyone can say, we're perfect. We're just trying to be like Jesus. You know what I mean? So
I agree. And I think, hopefully across the episodes it came across that I think, we were just trying to be open and honest and stick to what we hoped the purpose of the Unsubscribe was about, which was having those honest, open conversations. We didn't set out to put a fake version of ourselves. Either way, sometimes you can slip into the other side of thinking like we want to be so relatable that let's pretend like we kind of live our life a certain way to make it seem like we're more real. But that would be fake anyways. I think what we were just trying to be was real about ourselves, and that's where that's why we would have times where you could tell we don't all necessarily have exactly the same viewpoint about everything, but it doesn't stop you from fellowshipping with each other. It doesn't stop you from growing. And I think that was cool. Quick question I've got then, maybe before we go into some episodes, is I found it weird to do this whole look at the camera and try and engage. So I think over time it became a bit more natural, but it was a weird thing. What were some of the things that you lot struggled with, or that you found strange when we started off doing Unsubscribe?
Apart from the camera.
Question. You can say the camera. I thought you were saying the camera weren't the thing for you.
I was asking a question.
I'd say talking on cue, because it's like the behind production of Unsubscribe is like, although we are having conversations and they're authentic, there's still some thought behind what we do. At least most of the time. I'm just kidding. All the time. Well, most of our episodes we just rock up and do whatever. But we should be said. No, but I'd say for me it was the speaking on cue kind of thing that I would not struggle with per se. Well, at the beginning it was just like, oh, okay. Like, also being mindful that we're sharing a platform and I can't always be the one to speak, and also that kind of dynamic. But yeah, that's what I would say is.
I've got two things. The first one is trying to fill an awkward silence. If it didn't often happen, but right in the beginning, it kind of like, and it was a bit of a silence, and you go, okay, and then the next thing you're trying to bring it back in. And then the second one is try not to laugh at comments on the comments that come up, because
that we see on the laptop.
There have been so many times, or not just the comments, just in general, trying to hold it in. Tan and I, when we had to do this whole doubling up thing, Tan and I,
it was fun though.
Always blame it on my cakes. Yeah, it's not true.
I don't know what it is. but we just couldn't get it together a lot of the time.
It was funny.
And then we were just there going, hold it in, come on, rein it back in, pull it back in. But like, there was one time I was on the camera with you and we were doing God the Literal Father, and someone said, God the Little Father. And then it took everything within me
not to laugh.
laugh.
That was the hardest bit, actually. Yeah.
Let me put this comment up. We've got a shout out, Tanya. Tanya always talks to the camera, probably because she's famous and not even probably past the ear. Definitely.
She's famous.
Thank you.
She makes us take a autograph.
Why are you thanking?
Because it's true.
Well, I like what actually Pastor Ian said earlier, which is
sorry, creaky chair. Squeak.
You all had such a positive impact on the Bright City family during the lockdown, as well as being a great witness to Jesus and to the community. So I think that definitely reflects feedbacks we've had of people, even like during the 6-month break, the amount of people that were like, oh, did I miss it? I don't know. I don't receive the alert saying it's been on. I'm like, yeah, because it's not been on. Like people genuinely wanting to be there, and even if they couldn't be there on the night, watching it afterwards. You know, people messaging us, taking the time to message us, and just to say, well, actually, really did talk to me, or people being like, I love the way you talked about that because I never thought about it, or even people deciding that they might want to come to make Bright City Church their home church because they like the way that, you know, we talked about things and what we talked about, not only how, but also the things we talked about. And
we actually had someone that said they chose Bright City as their church because of some of I guess the realness of Unsubscribe. And I just think, well, that's amazing. We are a ministry of Bright City Church, and to think that ministries can have such an impact on those around us that like we would never have foreseen that. Like if we'd have said, what do you think Unsubscribe's going to be like in terms of like the fruit that we would see from it, the fact that someone's decided to join Bright City, that's amazing. Or the fact that someone's joined other ministries, or God is talking to them in their lives about certain things and giving them kingdom perspectives, and you know, really like challenging maybe how they're thinking.
It's amazing.
Like, that's amazing.
It's amazing.
Like,
I don't think we can even take credit for that.
No, we can't. We can't take any credit for it. Because we're literally just doing what God's told us to do at the end of the day. So it's really not down to us, and that's the amazing bit about it.
Because sorry, go on, Jada.
I was just going to say a massive shout out to Pastors Ian and Rachel as well. Absolutely. Obviously, without their go ahead and without even their ideas, you know, like this wouldn't have been a ministry that would have been able to happen.
Definitely.
So we have to say a massive thanks to you, and thanks for listening to God. Thanks for trusting us to run with it as well, because you know, like it's a big deal actually when you think about it. We are on such a major platform, like we're going out. And if this could go worldwide, it could go worldwide because it's online. Do you know what I mean? Like anyone could listen to it. So we have to shout you out, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And like you say, it's a lot of trust to put in us. So I think it was a good experience as well for us to be able to grow in.
oh,
What's that? Comment.
my mother-in-law. You all made me want to find a new local church for myself here, which I did. She's in another part of the country. And I used Bright City's authenticity to show me what to look for.
Wow, that is awesome.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. And that's the thing. Like, ultimately, I think it's very humbling. Like, just, you know, for us to be able to be, you know, part of God's plan and, you know, use God's ministry. But, you know, it's just to see how God works. Like I say, you know, obviously we're kind of reminiscing about the episodes and stuff like that, but you know, underpinning it all, we were just a part of the puzzle. Like, and that season that we were in lockdowns, and you know, Pastor Ian and Rachel had the idea to start going online and do stuff like that. To be able to be a part of that, and then to see how God was able to use that to minister to people, to ourselves.
To ourselves as well.
Exactly. Really, it's just, it was inspiring. It was encouraging to be a part of that, really. And I know, you know, for me, one of the big takeaways I would say from Unsubscribe that I would encourage anyone watching this is, you know, don't be afraid to say yes. You know, there's a difference between just saying yes recklessly to anything, but you know, I would say my reasons to have said no to this would have just been through nerves or fear or laziness, thinking, you know, even I'm telling the truth if I say, isn't it, that even probably throughout the whole series of Unsubscribe, we had so many doubts or thinking it's not going to work, or we started this way, then it's dipping off, or should we change the format?
Even tonight, we were like, no one's going to show.
Exactly.
Yeah, even on like days, like literally for me, every single time I'm on screen and stuff or camera, I'm always nervous. It just is, you know, and it's those imperfections and even feeling like I don't really know what I'm going to come and say or how it's going to be perceived. But the fact that God takes that and just uses it, you know, even I think people have mentioned that there's episodes we've done and it's impacted someone's actual life. It's an honor. Like, and that's why I say it's like, we can't take that for granted or even take the, what's it called?
Glory?
We can't. How can, you know, we're just people living our own lives on, and how can we have an impact on someone else? It's just, it has to be God, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Well, should we move on to episodes? Memorable episodes?
Would you
you started so strong now.
Okay, well, I'll start with one that earlier today we listed some episodes just to remember, and there's one that just came to mind now that I didn't list earlier, which was one of mine, not to make me feel better, but it was the
Tanya's
one.
got you.
It was the faith, illness,
that
something
was
like
good.
that. Can't remember exactly the title, but it was how to navigate your faith when you're going through illness and healing doesn't come, or etc. So the thing that was, a couple of things were really interesting for me then, because obviously I got to share my story with illness, which was vulnerable, and then we got to hear other people as well that I asked to share, but the thing that maybe people don't know, because I don't remember if we shared that, is we had a guest that was Pastor David, and all we told him was well, this is going to be the topic, and first part I'm going to share, and then the second part you can share as well, and that was basically it. And so during the whole first part, Joel and I were sitting here, and then Pastor was basically pacing during, like, all over the studio, and I kept like glancing, thinking, why is he pacing? It's really stressing me out. And then he came in, and then he shared a lot about like some of his personal stories, but also about healing, but not, anyway, you have to watch the episode basically. But the thing is, at the end of it, we were like, wow, this is like, it's just like really like was exactly connected, but we didn't. And he was like, you know what, I came in and this is not at all what I had planned to say. We're like, oh really, what did you plan to say? And he was planning to go kind of like really hard on it, like, but it would have been the complete opposite of what I was actually sharing the first part, because I was sharing like, it's okay, like sometimes healing doesn't come, but that doesn't mean God is abandoning you, etc. And so he was going to say the opposite, which we're not saying is not true, but actually was listening to the first part, God really was speaking to us, so to him. So whilst he was pacing, he was basically praying the whole time, and God told him, you've got to share this, and then this is what he shared in the end. And I thought, wow, never knew this was happening. Like, if I didn't ask the question, like, oh, like, how did you think of that, like, he never would have shared. And I just remember, like, wow, this is really powerful. And then so many people after that,
I was gonna say, there was great feedback on
yeah,
that
really
episode.
lots of feedback about the vulnerability of it, but also the realness of it, because, you know, it's a topic that we share one side of it most of the time. So yeah.
No, I like that a lot, and that's you're a really good point to bring up, actually, because it's one thing for you lot to see the episodes, but it's not like we ever then would come back on camera and share stories that would happen behind the scenes or how it works. So to kind of take that theme, I think the episode that stood out for me was the How to Be a Man episode.
That was great.
And I think firstly it surprised me how much that episode seemed to not just speak to the men, but a lot of like the women were saying
part
that
one or two?
Part one, both were good. Like I'm saying, it kind of as a series, but I know the part one in particular, that one seemed to get a lot of like feedback from women as well, who were saying, oh, we didn't necessarily know this, or that was an interesting insight. But I think the bit that stood out for me the most was in that part one episode, we had Nathaniel came in as sort of like a guest host. Eddie, Jade's husband, me and him did like a Zoom call and recorded it. And then after that, then loads of the guys that I knew from like Bright City, from other church situations, they all just answered the simple question, like what it means to be a man. And even for me, it was so amazing, like just firstly on a personal level to see how many people were willing to be a part of it. Because I'm someone that, you know, I often think, if I put this out there, people probably aren't going to be interested anyway, so maybe I'll just do it myself. So that took me out of my comfort zone, to have to go to people and say, look, are you willing to be a part of this episode? And for everyone pretty much to get back, you know, almost everybody I asked said, thanks so much for asking. Yeah, we'd love to. Sent the videos. And then once I got them, to see everyone's kind of idea of what it meant to be a man, it was amazing. And it definitely, you know, it brought to life that, you know, the scripture, it says iron sharpens iron. Because, you know, me with my mindset, I'll have my idea about a topic and what I think God would say about that. And then when you ask one person, you get one more perspective. And if you ask 30 people, you know, God-fearing people, you get 30 perspectives of God back that help them form your like opinion and your mindset. So that was a real kind of standout bit that maybe didn't come across in the episode fully, in that all the preparation behind and the people that got involved and the people that advised and prayed about it and everythking like that, I think brought together a really cool episode.
We've had feedback. I remember Micah, Jade's son, after like coming to us and like, because sometimes we've had him around the house and just telling us that he really looks up to Joel as well, because of what Joel represents to him. But he's not even, you know, family related or anything. But I remember he mentioned that episode and saying that he's got all of these uncles that show him what it's like to be a man of God, and then he can reciprocate, thank you, that himself. And so I remember that being very powerful to know, like, we didn't even think that it was something for the children, but even that, you know, he took it for him.
Yeah, I definitely would agree that episode was everything for myself. Like, they asked Eddie to speak, and I was thinking, boy, that's a good luck. Because Eddie's a man of very few words, and he's very, very quiet. We can be. But he generally, when I was listening to him speak, it was just like the wisdom that was coming out of his mouth. I was thinking, what? Where did this come from, bro? And then it was awesome to see that and to hear it. And then what Canel said about how it impacted Micah. When he said he was sat at home with me saying, like, my dad and my uncles are all on the TV. Like, this is amazing. He was going, this is amazing, and this is so cool. But not just because they're on the TV, because what they're saying makes so much sense. And I just thought, that is so nice. I love that. So that was one of my favourite episodes. And secondly, a big one is the singleness one. I love it because we just said not even that long ago how even this show ministers to us. And I just look at Tanya and I think, boy, you spoke to yourself, bruv. Like, you were happy in your singleness. And like hold up the left hand, my G. Hold it up. Come on. Like, so I just love that. I think that's one of the best things to see, is that it's fruitful. Like, the things that we speak about is producing great fruit, and it's so those are like my two favorite ones. There are all of them are really good. All of them are fantastic, but those ones are two standout ones for me, because they're just like, it's living produce right there.
I think it's amazing how diverse the topics are. I'm kind of thinking, you know, health, manhood, singleness, so many different topics, relationships as well. Like, I just think it's amazing how worship, that was a fantastic episode that you did with someone in Dubai. That was amazing.
I was actually going to say that was probably, from a logistics point of view, even that was like, I just think, that was actually really cool. Like, we were back in Dubai trying to sort out some visa issues because of lockdown when we left. And so we were there, and we were like, well, I knew that I was down to lead this session. I was like, well, why can't I do it from Dubai? You know, I've got community in Dubai, so why wouldn't we use it? Why wouldn't we get like a different perspective? And so I think I did an interview with Vida, who's one of the worship leaders at Hope DXB in Dubai. and we had like just a great time. And then I think we did like little snippets of what worship meant to people. We had people from like Dubai, Australia, Switzerland, UK. There was like a lot of people.
It was great.
And yeah, it was just so cool to have different perspectives on what worship is to them. And I think it challenged people as well in terms of, you know, like sometimes you go into church, and I think I said something along the lines of like, you just have to get over yourself. If you do not like the song that's being played, or you feel you cannot connect to it, you know, that's on you. It's completely on you. You make a decision when you go into praise and worship to connect with God, or you don't at the end of the day. And I think I said you just need to get over yourself. Basically,
it was a powerful, very powerful topic.
It was challenging, and I love that. Like, even because as a worshipper, I've been in that situation so many times. I'm like, song.
Was that Tanya on Friday?
Last Sunday. Always Tanya. And I think to myself, like, recently I've been thinking, this is a heart issue. Like, it is. Get over yourself. It's not about you. It's about God. It's about how we worship. It's how we come together. And so I just love it. And actually, me challenging myself has come out of that episode, and it's just clicked to me now. Like, I didn't always get it, but now I get where it came from. It's because of that episode. Like, so that's cool.
It's the beautiful thing whereby we can share a message but also have it speak to us. So for example, like the worship one, then I think people mentioned the mental health one. I really loved that episode whereby I had a friend called Nikita who's going to be a doctor soon in counselling psychology.
Congrats,
Nikita.
Yeah, well done.
I think that was a great episode because
two episodes.
We did it on two different occasions where we really unpacked as much as we can, because it's such a big, broad topic about what mental health is, how to. It was quite a big topic. I can't remember everything we spoke about, but I do remember how we have mental health and God, and they're not separate to each other. Sometimes we don't often, think of it in those terms. Like, God is very invested in our well-being as a whole, as well as and including our mental health. He doesn't just care about our spiritual health, but our mental health are everything to do with us. And I think that's what I loved about that episode. It just reminded me how much, like, I think the verse that we focused on was the Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And we just went by that chapter, just breaking it down. But ultimately, it spoke to me that God is invested in your whole being.
And it was like democratizing the mental health within the church, because that's not something we talk about. And a lot of time it can be also something the church shames people for. If you come saying I've got depression or I suffer from that, people are very quick to be like, oh, you don't pray enough about it, or you've got demons, or anything really. It's just it's just been made these two things. So I think it was impactful for people that struggle with these issues, and to see that the church is giving a response to it.
And so timely as well from like a COVID perspective. Everyone in lockdown. I mean, the majority of people that I speak to within that time period, or even now when you like talk about it, is that they did struggle with their mental health, and they needed something in their lives to really, I guess, challenge them and to provide like some kind of healing and different take and perspective on it. So that was an amazing episode.
Because it could be such a hidden thing whereby you may not know someone's actually struggling with something, but having people talk on a platform openly about, depression and all these kinds of things, but within a Christian context, it's kind of reassuring. You know what I mean? It's a relief, isn't it? And you're not the only one going through this, and sometimes you can feel like you are alone in your struggle, but I hope that episode kind of was a reassurance,
And I think as well that episode as well was, I think that was a big moment in time for Christians. That was hard because from a Christian point of view, when these lockdowns happened, there was almost like a pressure to feel like you had to be positive. You had to still show your faith. And you'd hear a lot of things of people saying, well, it's end times, it's meant to be, it's and it didn't always match up with how you felt. I don't know if you lot agree, but I think that was such a timely episode because not just in general people's mental health was struggling, but I would think actually there were some specific things that Christians, believers, were probably struggling with that period of thinking like, I feel this way, but I should be portraying that I feel another way because, if I'm acting like this is tough, am I not biblical? Am I doubting, Jesus is going to make all things well and stuff like that? And I think to really unpack it the way you and Nikita did was That I think it didn't surprise me after I then saw the episode why so many people engaged, because myself included. It was really kind of refreshing to see it just spoken about in a normal way.
Well, your mom said again, I remember there was acknowledgement and practical advice. It was both, and that I think that's what really helped people. I think on the same type of note of something that people can be shamed for within the church was the politics episode, because it's very polarizing, and it shouldn't be, which is something we said in that episode. So that was last November, I think. So it was one of the last ones we did, and we had Pastor Ian as well with us. But I remember that was really interesting because we all came and said, well, we didn't say who we follow or who we vote for, but I'm pretty sure within the room not everyone votes for the same people. But it was just not about that, you know. It was about so much more, like the bigger picture, and how as Christians we should conduct ourselves, but also how we should not conduct ourselves. And I think it was very timely as well, because a lot of things were happening in America, even in England, like a bit everywhere. So that was
very
topic. And that's not something we talk about with a positive view usually. When you hear about politics, you just, oh, here we go again. Like Christians are just going to get at it with each other, and this time it was just the opposite.
Actually, there's that famous thing, isn't there, that if you go to a dinner party, you don't talk about politics and you don't talk about religion. And they're like, we were together.
No, but I think, like you said, it was a great way to show that you can have two different ideas, and that is okay. You know, it doesn't have to be, like you said, polarizing. We can coexist as a body of Christ and still have different ideas. You know, and it doesn't have to be this is biblical and this is not, or whatever.
And I guess as well, like God speaks to everyone about different things. So just because one person follows one party and another follows another party, we're joined in Christ.
Exactly.
Like, that's our umbrella. That's what we have in common, and it's just to remember that, I guess.
And I remember one of the things we were saying was that there's no Jesus party, because I feel like sometimes we make parties like if they're literally Jesus party, and it's just not. So that was a good reminder.
We have created our own party.
No, joking. That was not the big announcement.
That was the big reveal that Tanya
I think so Ian shared one episode, but also Charlotte, you had another episode you shared earlier.
Yeah, what did I say?
Halloween.
The Halloween one, yeah. And I was like, the Halloween one, Charlotte, because that was my episode. No, that was a brilliant episode. I think we hadn't been going for that long then. I think maybe we started in like the September, didn't we? And then October. So we were maybe 6 weeks in, something like that. And I think I just loved that episode because it had like history behind it. It had the origins of things, of why we do things. There was like research that was done into it, instead of just taking it for this is why we don't follow it because the Bible. But it was actually the fundamentals behind it, what it meant, and we all had different opinions on Halloween and what we would find acceptable and what we wouldn't find acceptable. And I feel like we were still getting to know each other then as well.
I think we were a little bit still
walking
on eggs.
Exactly, walking on eggshells, exactly like that. So I think that was definitely a really good episode, just from that perspective.
What, you don't like Halloween?
Still don't like Halloween.
Yeah.
I think in the episode, like, you've just been eating Jade up ever since you did it.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm excited for whatever's going to come next. I won't spill.
Well, just before this was just one episode that I think is important to say. It was this one where all the different pastors came together. And it was a good episode, even if you were on it, Ian. But it was good because it was like so timely with the different churches starting to come together and do things together. And so Joe invited them together, the pastors, and then they shared things with their perspectives. Why are they doing things? And instead of being like, the cliche of churches within us Christians, just like, oh, churches just don't get along, and I just don't know why. And to see that this is breaking, and this swift shift is coming, and then something's happening, and the reasons why, but also like all those churches are different. So what are the different things that they face, and where do they meet together? Well, they meet at Jesus. So I think that was very very good and very followed episode.
No, agreed. And that one, I remember, if you have those moments sometimes where you're in a room of people and you just think there's so much wisdom just being shared. I remember what those three were sharing, and particularly, I think it might have been Jade sent in a question that Pastor Peter from Fountain Church.
Black and White Church.
Yeah. And that was like the real standout moment for me. All of it was powerful, but it was, quote unquote, a controversial question.
Yeah.
No one knew this question was going to get asked. And
sorry, I dropped that ball.
no, but that's for me, it like summed up Unsubscribe.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, let's just put people on the spot or let's make things awkward. It was like, do you know what? There's these big questions in our faith that we don't often see tackled or answered. And the way that, firstly, I appreciated the question just being asked. It was good to see it answered. And, particularly the way that, Peter in particular, just the way he just like stepped up, just answered it. And it was so gracious and wise, really, I thought, how he answered it. It was even like to be in that room with them. It was inspiring to just look at them and think, I want to try and replicate how these guys are, because, the way that he just, it was like what he was saying was just seasoned by God. It didn't seem like an answer of man. It seemed like an answer of God, that God spoke through him. So you're right. I think that was a big really episode as well.
Yeah.
Well, so we're arriving to. Can the drummer give us some drum rolls? That's like when everyone is praying with hands. So drum rolls. Thank you, Jade. The big reveal. What is the big reveal? Well, we are never doing a broadcast. No, I'm joking. So this is the last broadcast until, who knows, we can't predict things, but for the time being, this is the last live broadcast we are doing, but fear not, because we are back next Wednesday on all your podcast platforms, and we will do podcasts.
Yep.
We're clapping for us. No, I'm excited. It's a different way to be exploring different topics without the camera there, but the mic's going to be there.
Yeah. So
by
why?
the pressure of you guys.
But why are we doing podcasts? Why?
Oh, okay. Why are we doing podcasts? Okay.
Let me just say one thing. Do you know what? Canal is the master unsubscribe of putting people on the spot. She'll start a question and then get you to finish.
That's like my nervous behavior. I get nervous and then I put it back on someone else.
So it's on you now.
Yeah.
Why podcast?
Why are we doing podcasts? Okay. So obviously we've been doing broadcasts and they have been, well, I'm going to say it, they've been fantastic, to be honest. It's been an amazing way of connecting people during like a lockdown, during a pandemic. But we really feel like a shift and a different season, basically. And so when we were praying about it and when we got together and we were just having a chat, we thought, why don't we try podcasts? And so for us, it was like a natural progression. Podcasts don't necessarily always have to be live as well, which for us, it works better for in our seasons of life at the moment, with like planning weddings, with kids, with work, with life happening. And so it gives us a chance to be, I guess, more readily available on platforms for other people as well, that isn't just maybe Bright City focused in terms of YouTube and Instagram. Now, don't get me wrong, we are obviously completely with Bright City and we're doing this with church. That's our home. But yeah, we're just going to try something a little bit different. We're not precious about it. We're going to see how it goes. But right now, we think it's the right decision for all of us to move forward with it.
So we're still keeping the essence of it. See, now my nervousness has gone.
She's back.
That answers your question earlier that I never answered. What was hard? Getting past the nerves. But yeah, so what was I saying?
The essence of
the essence. Thank you, Tanya. We're still keeping the essence of Unsubscribe. We haven't changed. It's still about lifestyle. So lifestyle, what does it mean? It means it's about anything really. Like we're Christians, yes, but Christianity does define us in the sense that Jesus defines us, but we're so much more. Like we live in life in the world. So everything can be a topic because everything can affect us. Conversation, because we're still going to be talking, maybe sometimes more, because it would be, just us in the room locked together. You never know what can come out. And it will still be faith-based. So that won't change. We'll still tackle conversations that are not happening in the church, difficult questions, difficult answers, difficult topics, things that might be controversial. This is her favorite word at the moment, controversial.
Controversy queen.
So and we're obviously going to do it in a respectful way, but same, if you have guys ideas or questions, you can reach us, you can put in the comments, you can come privately on Instagram, on Facebook, find us if you know where we are, church, etc., or contact us.
Maybe don't do that.
But come find us if you would like us to talk about specific things. Or, if you've seen something and you just want to have an opinion on, why not? We may want to talk about it.
Yeah. I think any topic can be talked about. Like even the rising fuel prices. I think that could be a discussion.
I've got a lot to say about that.
Exactly. So no topic is off the table. We may not be able to talk about it there and then, but I just think write it in and, we can talk about it.
We've also spoke as a team as well about doing a couple of events. So, we're not 100% sure what they look like, but we feel that is something that we, might branch into as well. So it's a case of just like watching this space, seeing what's happening with us on Unsubscribe and moving forward with us. Join us for the ride, share about it. We'd like this to be a platform where that it isn't just us, that there's a plenty of people out there. And if you think you want to be a guest or you've got something good that you want to chat about, then we would love to have you.
Definitely. I think one of the best things about Unsubscribe was all of you lot's engagement. It's what I think kept it going. It's what helped us to really bounce off each other in the studio when we would get the comments through and the ideas. And that's definitely one of the aspects we don't want to lose. And we're really, praying that we can build upon with the podcast format. So we can hopefully get testimonies on board. If people have got, like Charlotte said, things to share, topic ideas. I think the podcast format I'm really excited about because it gives us a lot, I think, better framework to really tackle these ideas. Exactly.
And Joel doesn't have to put his makeup on either. So
Exactly.
And if you want to sponsor us, but no, it's great. This Exovers with Sam that couldn't be here tonight. We're very excited, and the first person that will be the focus is our lovely Jade.
Yes, mate.
Jade loves controversial topics.
I do.
I think she only ever talks to us at the moment about controversial stuff, which I'm here for it. But so Joel hates this phrase. But I am here for it.
When do you hear about the topic, or is that next week?
It's next Wednesday.
Do you know what?
We know what the topic is. I think.
Have you shared it?
Yeah.
Well, we can say it here then.
Are we allowed?
Who are we asking? Who's mum? Who can we say?
Don't know.
Is it okay to share?
We haven't filmed it yet, and recorded it, so there's no spoilers.
I just can't remember what it is. That's what I'm.
So it doesn't have a title or anything just yet. I have to think about it. But the subject is about the role of the man and woman in the house.
Is marriage overrated?
Oh, is marriage overrated? Yeah.
That's it. WhatsApp group.
Yes.
I'm back in the room. Yeah.
Yes. Is marriage overrated?
And we quickly established that sometimes husbands can be overrated.
I'm a joker.
I'm obviously joking.
It's going to be a cracking topic. And I think just have a good listen to it next week.
The great thing about podcast is that because it will be available on lots of different platforms, and it's something that you don't have to be there live for. You can, press pause and come back to it later. If it's not, it will drop we will drop every first Wednesday of every single month, starting next Wednesday, 1st of June. And that also means that it's not because it's the first Wednesday of the month that you have to listen to it on that Wednesday. You can listen to it later. But if you like what we share, if you have something to say, why not come to us and find us online or physically and tell us. Maybe be nice, but come to us.
Cool.
Sure.
Perfect. Well,
Aww,
before I know we're dragging it out. We do have one last thing before we finish, which is the competition winner. Which I'm going to push to you, Canal, to reveal. Explain a bit about the competition. Maybe people didn't know.
We are going to Big Church Day Out as a church. So many churches in England are going to Big Church Day Out. If you do not know what Big Church Day Out is, go find it online and come. It's next week, Jubilee weekend, 3rd and 4th of June. And we wanted to celebrate and offer someone the opportunity to win a ticket for the whole weekend for Big Church Day Out. And we do have a winner.
Winner.
Who is the winner? Mukuni, are you here? Because you are the winner! So yes, Mukuni obviously will contact you privately, but we hope that even if you haven't won this ticket, you will still join us at Big
Church Day Out.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and Bright City Church as well.
Yeah, come to Bright City as well. That'll be fun. It's on a Sunday, 10:30, Ashford.
For all the information that we shared tonight about the podcast and future events, you will find these on all our social media, so stay tuned. Before Wednesday we'll drop in the social media, Facebook, etc., and probably at church on Sunday, where you can find us, how to get on to this podcast. And if you struggle after that, please come find us and we will be happy to help you out, or to open maybe more platforms if it's necessary.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Cool.
Sounds good, guys.
Tanya's bottom lip is
I'm
quivering.
I don't want to say goodbye.
It is mad. It is mad to think it's the end of this era of Video Unsubscribe. But like I say, it's not the end.
Yeah.
We're going into a new season.
It can only get better.
The best is yet to come.
Exactly. But a huge shout out again, honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, for everyone for supporting us, tuning into the episodes, all of the guests. We didn't even have a chance to touch on that, but everyone that's joined us on episodes, everyone that's prayed for us, whether you've shared it, spoke to us in private. It all was really felt, all of your encouragement, all the support, and like we say, all glory and thanks be to God.
And our moms. Sorry, I've got to do a special one for our moms, because our moms are our biggest fans. So thank you, moms.
Good old mummy. Yeah.
But look, for the last time potentially on video, we're gonna say peace, sign out. God bless. Hope you have a good rest of the week.
And we are here for it.
See you next Wednesday.